I tell you now, unless there are very grave intervening events, I shall return to Manila by June, at the end of my fellowship. What are the prospects? I have a death sentence waiting for me. I have been told by my lawyer, Senator Tañada, who arrived last week from Manila and went to Boston. He was called by Mr. Marcos to Malacanang the day before he left for America. And Mr. Marcos said, Danny, I want it very, very clear. I want you to explain this to Ninoy very carefully so that there will be no misunderstanding. If he returns to the Philippines, he will have to go back to jail. Senator Maceda went home to the Philippines and arrived 2 days ago. He had the same message. Padre, I have talked to the President. He told me that if you return to the Philippines, you will have to go back to jail. I am going back to the Philippines, and if I have to go back to jail, so be it. I believe that real suffering, bravely borne, melts even a heart of stone. I want to prove to Mr. Marcos that not only comfort and material things are the demands of the flesh, that there is an indomitable spirit that will be willing to take any sacrifices for our people. I shall therefore go back to the Philippines. And I shall bring back to myself the memory of this afternoon, where many of our kindred friends came to pay even hard money. But I only wish that when I'm back in my cell, that you'll give me a prayer and pray for those in similar situations. I believe that we cannot do it by force of arms because we have no arms. But civil disobedience becomes a sacred duty when the state has become lawless or corrupt. When a citizen who barters with a state shows it shares its corruption and its lawlessness. I refuse to share that corruption and lawlessness. I believe that when a government becomes corrupt, there is no other place for a good citizen but to be in jail. And therefore, I shall wear willingly again the hair shirt of imprisonment. But, my friends, this struggle can only mean victory for all of us. It will mean victory because we are different from those that we oppose. Those that we oppose are happy with the material wealth. But for how long? I have written Mr. Marcos letters upon letters, and I told him, read your history, my friend. I have no hatred for you. I only have pity, because if you do not see and you do not remove the calluses from your eyes, if you do not remove your blinders, you will meet the same fate of all the dictators of history. What happened to Mao Zedong? His wife is now in jail. What happened to Peron? Isabelita is now in jail. What happened to Franco? He's now forgotten. What happened to the Shah? For all of the things that he did, the monuments to his greatness have already been torn down. There has never been a single dictator in history that has lived forever. And so I tell Mr. Marcos, study the lessons of history before it is too late. It would be a tragic, tragic, tragic thing for a man to miss the right turn of the fork and end up as a great tragedy. I have read Mahatma Gandhi in prison, and I have read what he said. And this frail man, this man of almost 60 years old, barely 96 pounds, fought the entire British Empire and caused that empire to collapse. Why? Because he had an indomitable spirit. He had a moral spirit. He had the courage to stand against the British and tell them, you can end a man, you can imprison his body, but you cannot imprison his soul. And as long as man will refuse to be defeated, you are never defeated. And so Mr. Marcos can imprison my body, but my spirit shall soar, and it shall come to you here in Los Angeles to remind you that in your comfort and in your home and in your happiness here, there are still many people crying for liberation in your homeland. I shall return to the Philippines knowing that maybe the seeds that we have planted here today will bear fruit tomorrow. I realize the situation here. You have displayed tremendous courage. How many Filipinos are there in Los Angeles? There are more than 200,000 Filipinos here. But what is the common refrain? ay huwag kang magpunta ron, baka makunan tayo ng litrato, lagot na tayo sa bagong balikbayan. How many of our countrymen, my friends, your own neighbors will tell you, bakit ka naman pupunta ron, maghahanap ka pa ng sakit ng ulo? Kawawa naman yung kamag-anak mo sa Pilipinas. Don't they realize that by saying those words, they have condemned themselves? Because they are condoning tyranny. And when you condone tyranny, my friends, you share in its corruption and slowness. There are only two letters and one word that I will leave behind. The letter of N and O, and the word no. Because the ancient Greeks taught their people that the moment you can say no, then you are beginning to inquire. The moment you say no, you're beginning to protest. The moment you say no to tyranny, you are beginning the struggle, the long, lonely road to freedom. And so I ask, this afternoon, please say no and learn to say no. No to tyranny, no to corruption, no to all this degradation of human dignity. Because then, I feel you're the true heir of your fathers who before you have shed their blood for our freedoms. My friends, do not forget that your readiness to suffer will light the torch of freedom which can never be put out. Do not forget that we, who are now in the middle of our years, must inspire the youth when they are almost in the brink of despair. Do not forget that the purpose of life is precisely to examine our being, not merely be a floating flotsam in the floods of time. Do not forget, as Longfellow said, that we should never be like driven cattle, but be a hero in the strife. And so, as I ended my speeches before in the Philippines, meron pong isang kasabihan daw na merong isang lalaki na naglakbay sa malayo at siya'y inabot ng uhaw at halos siya'y mamatay na ng uhaw nung siya'y makakita ng isang silid. At si silid na yon ay nakakita ng isang magandang dalaga. At siya po ay humingi ng isang basong tubig. Binigyan ng dalaga ng isang basong tubig at ininom ng lalaking uhaw na halos mamatay. At sabi ng lalaki, magandang dalaga ikang ganon, hindi ko na po kakalimutan ang inyong itinulong sa akin. Nung ako'y uhaw na uhaw, ay kayo'y nagbigay ng tubig. With that, kinuha daw niya yung kanyang baso at kanyang ipinukol at binasag. Ay nagulat yung babae at sabi ng babae, kung kayo'y nagpapasalamat, kung kayo uhaw na uhaw at kayo'y tinulungan ko, ay bakit naman yung sinira yung aking baso at bakit yung binasag? Ang sagot daw po ng lalaki, binasag ko itong basong ito na parang wala nang ibang lalaki pang makakalapit ditong makikiinom sa inyo at gagamit sa ating maliit na baso. Ako po ay nagpunta rito sa inyo sa Los Angeles, bagamat ang aking paa ay napakasakit. Ako'y uhaw na uhaw sa pag-ibig at inyo'y binigay niyo ang inyong pag-ibig at kayo nagbayad pa na makadinig. At ngayon tayo may nagkakita at ako'y nagpapasalamat sa iyo, galak sa aking puso, sa buong pasasalamat ay sana'y basagin na natin yung basong tulong at pag-ibig na inyong binigay na parang wala ng Marcos na makakahiram pa sa balang panahon. My dear friends, I therefore would like to end this afternoon by saluting the courage that you have now displayed. And I'd like to tell you today, this courage has energized the batteries of my life, and I shall bring it to whatever fate will lead me. And I shall always remember the people of Los Angeles, and truly to me, it has become the city of angels. I thank you very much.
Why do you think that your returning to the Philippines will enhance the cause of freedom in the country?
That has been a question that has been asked to me because people think that I'm rather foolish to go back. Primarily, I do believe that we have to show some examples to our people. As Gandhi said, cowardice is infectious, but courage can also be infectious. We must show our people that there are times when we must sacrifice. It's very easy to be here in America. It's easy to become soft in America. Who does not want to enjoy this freedom? But so long as the Filipino people are suffering, I think it will be more meaningful if we can go back there and share that suffering. I do not believe, as I said, in a violent confrontation. I do not believe, as I said, that blood should flow. But who knows that by returning there and willingly sacrifice again imprisonment, I may be able to touch the conscience of Mr. Marcos. And in so doing, we'll be able to dialogue better with him and tell him exactly what some of our people feel.